Hey, what's going on YouTube? So if you clicked on this video, you're probably like me and wondering what the difference is between the Magpul SL-M stock and the SLK stock. That's what we're talking about in this video, coming up. Before we get started, I just want to share a message with YouTube. None of my videos contain information on how to modify your firearms. All of the firearms in any of my videos are legally owned. I've gone through the proper background checks. I have the proper paperwork for the ones that require it. Any firearms in my videos have all been safety checked, and I follow the proper safety rules. And so YouTube, if you feel that I violated any sort of policy, I would really appreciate it if you just reach out to me and I can correct any sort of problem. All right, and so on with the video. So this is my 11.5-inch SBR. It's a Smith & Wesson M&P 15, which I've changed pretty much every single part out on since I've purchased it. It's gone through a few different iterations. This is the current one. And I've been wanting to make it a little bit slimmer, a little bit lighter, kind of trim the fat type of thing. I have been using the Magpul ACS stock on here, which I do like for the most part, but for an 11.5 inch, I did want something a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter. I threw this stock on the scale and it comes in at 15 ounces. It's got battery storage down the side, it's got another storage compartment right here. So it's not a bad stock by any means, but I wanted something a little bit slimmer. So the way that I prefer running my stocks is with it all the way collapsed. I'm 5'10", 132 pounds, so I'm fairly thin. So I like to get it nice and tight, and this is what's comfortable for me. And because the stock is longer, when I actually compare this to a 14.5 inch with a pin and welded muzzle device, this isn't that much shorter. In reality, this should be like 3.5 inches shorter than my 14.5, but because of this stock, it's actually fairly close in length. So on this one, I was wanting to get something that's a little bit more compact and maybe even a little bit lighter. Before I set this aside, one of the things I do like about this stock is the storage, because in one of these tubes, I was actually keeping a copy of my tax stamp. Since this is an SBR, a registered SBR, it was nice having a copy of my tax stamp in here. It's not the end of the world. I can just fold one up and put it in the grip, which is what I did. So that's what actually led me to looking into the SLM stock. I do have an SLK stock. I have one here on my 7.5 inch SBR. Also have a tax stamp for it. And this is the SLK. So I did take this one off from here and tried it on there, and I like the size of it, the shape, and the length of pull is shorter than the ACS stock. But it left me curious what the difference was between the SLK and the SLM. I figured that there would be a reason why they would make a smaller, more compact stock with the SLM. So I went ahead and picked them both up, and here's what we got. In my right hand here, we have the SLM stock. In my left hand, we have the SLK stock. And they're very, very similar. There is one major difference, and I'll get to that last, but you can see that top to bottom, they line up. So there's the same overall height, they're the same shape. The levers are in the same place. The only difference is the length. So with the SLM, it looks like they took about an inch off from here. So since they took an inch off from the SLM stock, that makes it a little bit lighter. On my scale, the SLM is showing 7.1 ounces, and the SLK is showing 7.8 ounces. And the ACS stock is coming in at 15 ounces. Now with them sitting side by side, you can see the difference in the sizes. The ACS is much wider, it's also much longer, probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches longer than the SLK. And then the SLM is obviously 1 inch shorter than that one. So we take the SLK out and show the height difference between the ACS and the SLM. See that there's a pretty significant difference there. Now this nice wide area and the battery compartments is pretty nice for the cheek weld, but these don't have bad cheek welds either. And so you can see where I'm going here. The ACS is bigger, it's heavier, it's longer. Either one of these stocks is going to be smaller, compact. It's also going to be half the weight, and it's going to give me a shorter length of pull. So let me get one put on the 11.5 and we'll see how it looks. All right, so first up we got the SLK stock on here. And like I said, I like to run it all the way in, as short as it'll go. So you can see that the SLK goes just shy of the castle nut here. You can still see some of the threads exposed, but this is as short as it'll go. And I like how it feels. So that's the SLK stock on here. Let me throw the SLM stock on here, and I will show you why I am going to be going with the SLK and questioning the purpose of the SLM. All right, quick apology. The batteries in my lights just died. Hopefully the lighting is still good in here. Okay, so we have the SLM stock installed, and the length is exactly the same. So from the grip to the back of the stock, the butt pad is exactly the same. The only difference is right here. So you can see that it's shorter right here, but it still hits the back of the buffer tube in the stock, and the only difference is this little gap right here. So if they're both lined up, you can see that the SLK would go to the threads and the SLM has this little gap here. So that is the only difference. The stock is all the way in. It's the same length of pull as the SLK. So that's actually why I don't understand what the usefulness of the SLM would be unless you are trying to save every ounce possible and you're really trying to make a lightweight rifle. Then you probably wouldn't go with this anyway, because the MFT stock, Mission First Tactical Minimalist stock, is still like 1.5 ounces lighter than this one even. I'm not exactly sure the use of the SLM. Unless you have a shorter buffer tube, it really doesn't have a use over the SLK. Like, maybe you want this little gap here. I mean, for me, I run it all the way in. Maybe it doesn't matter for you and you run it out and you wouldn't even really notice, and so the SLM is just fine. For me, I don't see this being useful. So I'm gonna actually return the SLM to the store, and I'm gonna hold on to the SLK. So I did pay for these. These were not given to me. I picked them up from my local gun store, which is Tombstone Tactical in Phoenix. They have really good prices there. They're not like Optics Planet where they have like coupon codes, 8%, 10%, 11%. They don't offer any of that, and their prices are still lower than other places with a coupon code. So I suggest you check out Tombstone Tactical. Their inventory is growing. They have really good customer service, and they're not a sponsor of the channel or anything like that, but I do suggest checking them out. So I do want to know what you guys think. Which stock would you guys go with? The ACS, the SLK, the SLM, none of them? You like something better? Curious to know what you guys think down below. So I don't typically do firearms related videos just because I kind of steered away from it. I'm a do-it-yourself channel. I would love to do DIY projects on firearms, but because of YouTube's policies, they don't allow us to show that kind of stuff. But I would like to start doing some videos showing what I've done to mine, not how to do it, just what I've done to them. I haven't really shown firearms in my videos. I did the DIY Cerakote, but that's not how to modify a firearm. That's just Cerakote, and you can do that on any product. But I haven't really shown firearms in my videos or anything like that because I've been concerned about being demonetized. I don't make a lot from YouTube. I'm making about $130 a month from YouTube, but the potential for making more is there, and I didn't want to lose out on it. YouTube's policies don't allow modifications, but some of the channels, they are showing firearms in them and talking about different products, and they are monetized, so I'm hoping that YouTube won't have an issue with it. I've also been concerned with future jobs and airline recruiters, but I've reached out to a few of them and they don't seem to have a problem with it. They've told me that they don't really look that deep into it, so the odds of them actually coming across my YouTube channel or anything like that, I guess, is not as good. That's one of the things I've been concerned about. So what I want to hear from you guys, do you want to see more firearms related content like product reviews, stuff that I've done, not how to modify, but just stuff that I've done to them to make them my own? Yeah, I would like to hear what you guys think down below. So I guess that's it for this week's video. I hope there was enough information in there so that you can tell the difference between the SLM and the SLK stock. I couldn't find any other videos out there comparing the two, so I thought that I would do one myself. And so that's it for this video, and we will catch you on the next one. See ya.